Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the March CLIF. I will open it up to the command group for opening comments.
Hey, good morning, folks. We got a pretty good schedule lined up for you today. We've got ACS is going to be talking sponsorship, in and out processing from our DHR, and we're also going to talk a little bit about housing from DPW. You're stuck with the JV team today. Colonel Alexander's enjoying court-martial duty and would much rather be here, actually. Hey, there's a lot coming up, right? It's already March, middle of March, end of our second quarter, and we've got UCOM Spring Fling coming up. We've got spring break, Easter, looking into Frühlingsfest, and immediately behind that we have the Bazaar, just to cover a few. We'll go through a lot of those today, but it's going to be a wild couple months. Thanks for coming, and let's go ahead and push off.
All right, with that, we'll turn it over for the special topic. Ms. Carrie Sharp will lead us off.
Hey, good morning, everybody. The most important thing that I want to share when it comes to sponsorship is that it falls under our Relocation Readiness Program, and with the departure of our last Relocation Readiness Program manager, we have a new one. Her name is Stephanie Holitz, and for those in the room, you can see her in the back. Stephanie, go ahead and stand up. She's really putting a lot of enthusiasm into reshaping the program, and we're so excited to see what she can do. She is a military spouse herself. She just PCS'd here this last summer, so that relocation process is fresh in her mind, and she is using that as a great tool as she works to improve a lot of our processes. So ask her any questions afterwards. When it comes specifically to sponsorship, we just want to remind you that we do offer monthly sponsorship programming. I imagine some of you in the room had great sponsorship when you arrived, and others maybe were left wanting more. So you know how important it is. So please keep that in mind. Take advantage of the workshops that ACS offers. And for those of your unit training coordinators who organize your sponsorship program, again, please come to one of our workshops and go ahead and get with Stephanie. Any questions specifically about what ACS has regarding sponsorship? Okay, wonderful. Mr. Pappas could not be here today. He is the school liaison officer, and in coordination with DODEA, you'll see all the programs that they have to help our youth have a sponsor program as well. There is a youth-led sponsorship program with adult supervision and input. And I think that's a wonderful program at middle and high school. That's a great thing to get your kiddos involved in. Even if your kids have the right kind of personality for that, see if they're interested in becoming youth sponsors. And if you have families coming in that have children that age, see what you can do to get your child involved in that program. CYS itself does a youth newcomer orientation every summer. You can see all the great things that includes. And I think that's, again, yet another wonderful way that we can make sure our kids are getting the transition support that they need as well. Reach out to CYS if you have any more questions about that piece of it. But again, unless anyone has any questions for me, I think I'm done. And I see a question.
I'm the Stuttgart High School PTO president. One thing that we need on the ambassador side is volunteers. We need community volunteers. This is the ambassadors is ran on a small group of students. Those students are multiple clubs, sports, parents are fully stretched in. So we do need community volunteers to come help and make this a successful group.
And you're talking about adult volunteers to help facilitate this? So those who aren't in the room, the PTSO president is in the room and just reminded us that adult volunteers are absolutely needed to help support these programs. Wonderfully, ACS has a volunteer program as well. So we will make sure that we advertise that on our Facebook page, and please get with me afterwards and I can make sure that we're marketing appropriately the need for those volunteers. But everyone else in the room, if you can help get the word out, and those of you at home as well. All right? All right. I'll be followed by DHR. Took some of this stuff.
Good morning. My name is Frank Jenkins. I work in the Central Processing Facility. I will be standing in for my supervisor, Madriga Davis. And in processing, we have two types of in-processing, the in-person and also virtual. The in-processing happens on Tuesday and on Thursday. The last Thursday of the month, we have in-house training, so that training in-process doesn't take place, but normally we have it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can actually do the virtual in-processing. It's a YouTube video. We provide the customer with a check-in process. When they fill out the needs and assessment that tells what they need from the community, we tailor that in-processing virtual and processing checklist to their needs. In other words, if the person is Army and single, we have a certain in-processing checklist for them. If they're Army and married, we add family members on there. And the same thing for other branches of service and also DA civilians. When you look at, we give them a self-pace up to 30 days to get it done, because we know when that person in process, they got 1,001 things to try to do. They got to get housing, find schooling for the kids. A lot of things are on their mind. So a lot of times they're in the classroom passing out. We try to provide them with enough coffee to keep the juice going, to keep them wide awake. So that's the key. When you talk about who's actually going to be attending the in-processing, that's everybody who's in processing the Stuttgart garrison. We strongly encourage family members to attend. I know when I wore the uniform, my wife attended, she took better notes than I did. So if you have a loved one, please have them attending a processing briefing. Contractors are optional. We provide contractors to come in, sit down, hear the briefing, but they do not have to in-process the garrison. But because a lot of facilities they can actually use because of the SOFA. For out-processing, they have about 30 to 60 days out, they can actually start the out-processing procedure. We have gotten people before that time period, we will work with them, send them the out-processing questionnaire if they don't have it already, send it back to us, we'll stamp it, provide it back to them, they would turn it back into transportation or coordinate household goods pickup, shipping a vehicle if that's what they're doing, and so they can actually get their clearing papers to clear the garrison in a timely manner. 2 weeks out from their departure date, we provide the military personnel their clearing papers. In the regulation, Army Europe regulation, it doesn't really go in depth for civilians. So civilians have a hard time sometimes trying to coordinate with their employers to get that time off. Some employers want them to take leave, which is not really the right answer, but so we give them 30 days to work with their employers to out-process the garrison as best they can. When you talk about for military, of course, we give them 2 weeks, like I mentioned. We give them 2 days to turn in their checklist to us. We give them that 2-day cushion. If they can't get it done within that time period, they come and coordinate with us, and we can actually move the date to the right for them. Of course, you see the communication outlets that we use. I just spoke with Mr. Campbell about, because PCS season is coming up, we have people walking in our door who they don't have a clue on where to go to find the out-processing checklist. Even though there's information out there, I talked to Mr. Campbell about maybe providing a commercial where, put on an AFN skit or actually radio plugs to informing the community about the out-processing procedure, what they need to do to get their out-processing checklist and everything. And let's see. For the out-processing, when they go to the out-processing garrison webpage or the app and they start talking about where can they find their questionnaire, we are now updating, revising the out-processing briefing schedule, the briefings, so they're going to refer them back to us. Thank you, PAO, for helping us out with that. So customers will contact us and we would email them their slide presentation for out-processing. So it's not going to be on the app anymore, because Madrika is actually going through the process of actually updating it. If you look into the takeout slides, takeaway folder that you have, we have the in-person and out-processing briefing. It has a list of 22 services. The garrison starts us off with that wonderful service. And we brief the customer on what the procedure for out-processing is. That's when we actually have the agencies come in live and go over everything with them, and they can ask the questions directly to that agency. The one that you have in the takeaway folder talks about, has Army finance on there. We also have one without that for other branches of service and also civilians, so they can actually process. The second takeaway is for our contact information and also the links to unprocessing, out-processing virtually, so they can actually email us. Do I have any questions at all? Thank you for your time.
anywhere, Frank.
Okay, here we go. Mr.
Question.
Gwenner, Mr.
Is,
Gwenner.
in process, out processing, voluntary or mandatory?
It is mandatory, sir.
Mission partners, this is where I need your help. We're, I won't give a percentage, but it's not great of the number of folks actually in process, complete, or even more important, out process. And what that generally ends in pay issues, pay and allowance issues, housing issues, congressionals, because they didn't stop allowances when it's supposed to. We're going to find a way to make this mandatory. I already placed it on the DHR. And we have a bunch of different options we're looking at, but we have to enforce people in processing. Because if they don't, it causes a myriad of issues all the way into their tour and at the end of their tour. So I would ask and urge everyone to do that. Yeah, you can talk VRO, Mike?
So on that, one of the consequences of not out processing properly is not clearing your vehicles. So one of the second and
Yep.
third order effects. Everybody that works in the Milton patch, there's very little parking here. All those abandoned vehicles are because a soldier or a civilian didn't out process their vehicle.
Yep.
So I'll make a big part of that.
Perfect, thanks. But more importantly, Frank, how many years have we served in the United States Army, active duty and as a Department of Army civilian?
36 years, sir.
36 years, he's retiring shortly. I don't think you'll be at the next CLIF, will you?
No, sir.
No?
End of this month, I'm
You'll
out.
be on terminal leave. So on behalf of the garrison, and I'm going to embarrass Frank in front of everyone for all the years of service he's given to the United States Army. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Sandra.
Hi, how are you? My name is Sandra Smith. I'm Deputy Chief of Housing, and I'm happy to be here today and provide you with some information. Since our peak season is around the corner, hopefully everything goes smooth. We're ready, I tell you. All right, so let's talk about the Army Family Housing. Who all is involved in this? All accompanied service members. We have a mandatory assignment policy, and people are actually surprised. This is not just mandatory for Stuttgart. We didn't make this up. It is an assignment that is mandatory for all garrisons in Europe. What we will need to start off everything is the applications, our housing application, the 1746, and new orders. So that is not just applicable for service members. We all need that for the civilians as well. Sorry about that. The eligibility date is very important to us to place anybody on our so-called wait list for on-post housing, which means the date that the person left the last duty station. We have 1,330 on-post units here in Stuttgart, which includes all 4 bases, Kelly, Robinson, Patch, and Panzer. What we need to do is, once you are coming to Stuttgart, and as mentioned, the in-processing is super important. That is mandatory. We do the in-briefs on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if you did not send an advanced application, this is when we provide you with the application. You fill it out, you provide us with the orders, and we'll add you to our, into our system. Please, very important, there's only allowed are 2 pets for on-post housing. That's very important. We have a lot of people that are coming in, they're traveling with 2+ pets, 3, 5, and sometimes even more. And on post, we can only authorize up to 2. If we cannot house anybody here in Stuttgart due to the inventory, then you will receive a so-called Certificate of Unavailability, also called CNA, and that will be authorized by housing. If we talk about our unaccompanied housing, we have also mandatory assignment for all unaccompanied personnel with minor exceptions. We just came out, or there's just a new policy that came out, which authorizes E6 bona fide bachelors to go off post, but it does require an exception to policy, an ETP, that has to go through the command first and has to be staffed through housing. For unaccompanied personnel, there are no pets authorized unless you care for a goldfish, but that would be all. And we do not advise to bring any household goods, because if we have availability on post, then you will be assigned to the barracks, or if E7 or up, to BEQs or BOQs for officers. We also provide off-post referral services. We have a contractor, they're called Mission Essential. They will provide in-processing, out-processing of off-post housings. They will also take you to one of the units that are listed on the Homestead Mill, and only on Homestead Mill properties. They can give you up to 6 listings, and it's more like a library system. We also offer mediation services. All those services are, and this is very important, are only authorized if you signed with or going to sign a housing rental contract. Up front, of course, it doesn't matter. You have to be eligible to work with them. We provide you with a so-called routing list that they use, and they will provide services for the Homestead Mill listings only. So that's very important. If you find something on Buku or ImmoScout, unfortunately, they will not be able to provide a service. They cannot take you to a viewing or so on. Okay? Are there any questions so far? No?
Hey team, Denise Malavi, Garrison CSM, and I'm glad I live here. So, right quick, I just have to comment, there are policies that housing follows, and rightfully so, because we have to make sure that we utilize Army family housing to its full extent. However, there are families in some situations that require them to do ETPs for additional pets and things like that. So I encourage you to continue. Even though it says you can't, there's always an exception to certain situations. So I just wanted to put that out there, that if you do have a situation that a policy may say something else, we ask that if it warrants it and it's important, that you still submit that ETP so that we can review it and make the right decision for your families. Thank you.
Yep. That's
I'm going to jump on that as well.
True.
Hey, folks, this is obviously a very charged, emotionally charged subject when folks are PCSing in to Patch Barracks. And to me, it all goes back to sponsorship, right? A little bit of expectation management from good sponsors can tell these inbound post-battalion command 05s that they're probably going to be living in a stairwell. We have 1,330 units that are available. Of that, several are always in a level of maintenance or reconstruction or refurbishment, but we do pretty well to maintain those. We are mandated by Congress. It's statutory to have 95% occupancy rate. We're hovering around 91% right now. It's the highest we've been in years. And we do our very best to place people in houses that want to be in houses, and the other 70% that want to live off, we try to accommodate. But just understand, if there's housing available, they're probably going to be put in a 3 or 4 bedroom stairwell. Standalones are only going to be with GFOQs, SESs, and C-cells. So that's a little bit of the expectation management up front. If you can kind of tell them up front that just be ready, you're going to live in a 3 or 4 bedroom, and they're fantastic apartments, by the way. But I think that's important that folks understand that. I brief it twice a week at the in-processing command brief, and it still surprises folks. So really, I need the mission partners to continue to foot stomp that and make sure your active sponsors are assisting with that process.
Yeah, very true. I mean, we do need sponsors. We're looking, Karen?
I just had a question in regards to the ETP process. Is there a format and process that is listed somewhere that we can direct people to for how they are supposed to go about doing that process?
Okay, so with the ETPs, we have to make sure that people are physically in Stuttgart. That's to begin with. And then normally the ETP gets processed through housing, depending on what the exception is supposed to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Did that answer your question, ma'am?
Not really.
Okay.
People are coming in and they're asking what the ETP process is. They're asking what a form letter is. Who does it get directed to? Does it go to their exiting command? Is it going to the arriving command?
There's a process. Yeah. Housing has to form the process, the routing. Of course, the chain of command gets a vote on it. There's a formal memorandum, the reason, and then it comes to the garrison. Once housing's given their yes or no on it, it will then come to the garrison commander's approval authority.
I
Yes.
think the real question is, where is that process available at?
Is this on the app? Are we putting a plug for it?
Karen probably knows better than.
Okay.
So if I may, I don't think there's an actual true format for an ETP because everybody's situation is different. I will tell you that housing, on the other hand, will be able to provide you what you need to submit when it comes to an ETP, if that makes sense. Everyone's ETP, their letter format and this type of information is not always going to be the same, but I will tell you housing does do business with quite a few ETPs, and so they would be your first point of contact when it comes to trying to get something up to the garrison because it's routed through them to us for us to review.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first step would be to come and see us, if it's housing related, of course, and then we do have some templates that we provide. And it has to go through the command first, and we need the approval from the person's command, and then it comes back to us. And then we will staff it up to leadership.
So if somebody's not here yet, before they proceed out of the stage with 3 or 4 texts, that's something they can email you in advance how to get this, or do they do that after they arrive?
They can absolutely go through their sponsor. Not to, I mean, I'm gonna do a plug for sponsorship because most people that are trying to come into CONUS that have never been here, it requires quite a bit of things, and that's a good point, and I appreciate you bringing that up. And so that's why the sponsorship is very important, because they are the continuity of letting that soldier, that family, or whoever it is that's coming into Germany, give them all the information they're gonna need once they get into Germany. I would also relook and see the different formats, and maybe we can look at putting them on the Stuttgart app, just to kind of give everyone different templates to kind of work with if that works.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Again, sponsorship, it sets the tone of your organization. How you receive your soldiers and your families is very important. If you go all out and welcome them and do everything prior to them getting here, you have their buy-in for your organization. If you don't take care of them, they are not going to be focused on what they're supposed to do in the organization because they're still trying to figure out what they need to do for their family when they get here. So I will always advocate for sponsorship. It is very important. It will set the tone of your organization. So I encourage you to please do sponsorship in your unit, and if you need additional help, like Ms. Carey and them said, please utilize ACS or even give us a call at the garrison so we can better facilitate that. Thank you.
Okay, so our next slide. If you're already living on post, very important, if there is a damage or repair required, please do submit a work order. Very easy to do. If you downloaded the USAG Stuttgart app, which we strongly recommend, there's so much valuable information on that app, not just for housing, if I may say so, and it's very easy to manage. So if you have the app and you open it up, you go on maintenance, which is just, it actually just was changed, and then you go back to the maintenance, and then you select exactly what you need. Routine requests for ARMA, that would mean that when you live on post, you might have an issue with your plumbing or whatever it may be. You have to re-register though, please be aware of that. And you can also set up an email account for your spouse, so your spouse can then add a request into ARMA. If there is an emergency, please call it in. If it's something that needs to get done right away, always call it in. Don't put it into the ARMA app. It may take too long for what you need to do. Also, there is a new tell me. There is, oh, my QR code. Oh, my goodness, I'm looking at it. Nobody helps me here. I'm sorry about that. That can be used, again, super helpful. Please do download the app. It's the best way to do it, or go on ARMA directly. I would like, before I close out, we do have our tenant survey right now. So I would like to invite everyone that does live on post to please attend or submit. If you did not receive your link yet, I have some flyers outside, some on the table, and we are also sending it out via emails to all building coordinators and area coordinators. If you did not receive the link, then you can actually go on the email that is provided on that letter or on that flyer, so you can get to that link. Super helpful to provide us your honest opinion, please. And of course, we're always happy to get a good comment too. We're working really hard to make things better for everyone that lives here, but it does take a little bit of time, so we apologize that we're not always as fast as we wish or you wish for us to be, but we are working to better the service each day. Also, spring cleaning is coming up, starting in April. We already provided the exact dates to all area coordinators, building coordinators, and to some of the residents. We will send out flyers by next week. So if there are any questions, there's a POC on there. Let us know. We're really glad to help you. And if anything else, just stop by. We will do whatever we can to support you. Thank you very much.
Questions? All right.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Brian Beekner, Chief of Officer, DPTMS. Like Mr. Gwinner said, it's going to be a busy couple months. Just off the bat, AER season campaign has kicked off. You should have been getting emails periodically about the AER campaign, so we encourage everybody to support that program. No closures for DPTMS as far as our services go. Security group email box is there if you need security help. Please email that box. That's the quickest way for us to get to you. And also, we're coming up into change of command season and some other things. So please, if you need garrison support with changes of command or anything else, if you need flags, need a reserve, Washington Square, stuff like that, that's the group email box from my operations section. Please contact them as soon as you possible to get that process started. Especially if you need DES support, that requires at least 40 days to 45 days, depending on what you need. Next slide. So let's start getting into some calendar stuff. Again, busy month for March. I'm just going to highlight a few things. So this weekend, you got St. Patty's Day paintball, sponsored by MWR. UCOM Spring Fling is going on at Washington Square, and then the high school garage sale. Next Thursday, there's going to be a medevac. The health clinic is going to be doing medevac training over at Panzer on the parade field, starting at 1300. So that's going to start out with a static display. So if you got children come out of school because it's early release day, they're more than welcome to come check that out. And then please exercise caution if you see a helicopter coming in to land or take off. There'll be road guards out there and stuff, but please exercise caution if you see a helicopter in the air. All right, and we get into the USAG training holiday, and then spring break the last week of March, and there'll be some flyers for the March stuff. So there's the AER campaign flyer. The next one is next slide, please.
So if we could just hold off on this slide, and can we, is either Carrie or Miss Ruthie, if I could just get you guys to come up here and just talk a minute or two about AER. I think it's important. I think this is the best forum to put it out, and why the campaign benefits our soldiers, their families in this community. So if you could afford them just a minute or two, I would appreciate it.
Anything for you, Sergeant Major.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So the AR campaign is going on right now, started March 1st, and it was actually extended until the 14th of June, so you have a little bit more time. AAR is the official charity of the Army, so this is a nonprofit organization, and it supports soldiers, retirees, medical retirees, reservists on Title X orders, survivors, victims of domestic violence, and other eligible family members. So this is a huge group of our population that this charity supports. It is incredibly important. It doesn't receive federal funding, and it's not part of the CFC campaign. So from March to June, this is how they are funding all of the assistance that we're able to provide, right, our soldiers and our families. Last year, Stuttgart raised $8,000. We assisted $60,000 worth, right? So that's a big discrepancy. We would love to see that number increase this year. 91 cents of every dollar that's donated to AER goes directly to soldiers and families. All right, so it's one of the best managed charities out there as well. They have 30 areas that they're able to assist families with. So if there's a death in the family and a soldier can't get back home, right? If they need assistance potentially with funeral expenses, maybe they're struggling financially and they can't pay for food, they can't pay for rent, they can't pay for utilities. In addition to that, there are grant programs, right? Scholarships for spouses and dependents, scholarships for transitioning members who are part of the Skill Bridge program. So not only do they assist in crisis times, but they also want our soldiers and our families to just be ready, right? Just be prepared at all times. And if they can assist with a financial crisis, they will make that happen. I'll also share that, right, why donate? A lot of times we think that this is not going to impact us. Number one, it's about mission readiness. Right, financial readiness, I'm also the financial counselor. Financial readiness is in the top 5 why our soldiers lose their security clearances. And it's also in the top 5 why soldiers commit suicide. Right? And if we can help somebody by just giving a small donation, doesn't have to be a huge amount, but every single person definitely counts, then we encourage you to please do that. Give to this worthy cause, right? So it could be the soldier next to you that's struggling with something and they can't focus on the mission. Maybe they can't even feed their family, right? And I know that's hard to think about, but it does happen. And it's for all ranks. I'm seeing, from E1 through 06 and above. It's not specific to, our younger soldiers. It affects everybody. Has anybody ever PCS and didn't get paid for a couple of months? Right? It happens all the time, right? So we may have been doing really well, saving, investing, all those things, and then we have a crisis that we just didn't anticipate. So AER is the main resource. We want our soldiers coming to us first, right, before getting into credit card debt, before, having to, exhaust all of their resources, take out personal loans at very high interest rates. We want them to start with us, right? AER wants us to try to get to yes when they meet eligibility and criteria, but also highly encourage us to also be good stewards of the funds that you are donating, right? So we're doing our best to help our families. So please, if you have a soldier who's also in crisis, please refer them to us at ACS, and I'll be happy to walk them through that process. Any questions?
Thanks, Ruthie. And if you're not tracking, they have a table set out in the hallway, and the QR code is actually on the cookie, and that cookie is ridiculously delicious. Just so you know, I've already had like 3, but the QR code is on there. It makes it simple. You scan it, and it takes you straight to the website, and it allows you to donate right there on the spot. So please, on your way out, stop by there, pick Ruthie and Miss Carrie's minds to kind of help, and grab a cookie. You have to scan the code first. Don't eat the cookie first. And try and donate if you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to point out that those cookies were made by one of our home-based businesses. Okay, so
Very nice.
our military.
Thank you.
Sweets by Caroline, I believe.
All right.
Amazing.
All right, so another flyer, there's a basket auction coming up, sponsored by the Stuttgart Spouses Club, I believe. Next slide. So like I said, the rest couple of these are just flyers for events going on in March. And UCOM Spring Fling and USO. All right, so going into April, again, pretty busy schedule. We got the RPBB on the 3rd, the Spring Bazaar, the Harriet Tubman Spring Bazaar from 4 through 7. TARP training, if you were tracking TARP training on Patch in March, that got pushed to April due to mission requirements. So that new schedule is out. We did send an email out to update that for everybody. CLIF on the 10th, and then spring cleanup, as Ms. Smith was talking about, those schedules are there. Op order was pushed out last week. So if you got any questions or if you didn't get the op order, please reach out to my ops section. We can resend that. And I think UCOM Commandant will get a pass on your parking lot, because I think it might still be a little messed up. Anyway, then you got the high school prom going on, and then the big deal is the VA benefit workshop at the end of the month. That is going to be actual VA people here doing a benefit workshop and a town hall, like a live stream town hall. So pretty big deal. Next slide. So those are just some flyers for April.
Hey, Brian, real quick.
Yep.
Elaborate on this one a little bit. Hey, so the veterans town hall, the event's gonna be here, it's Swabian. You look on the flyer, and there are 2 QR codes. The first event is the claims clinic from 8:30 until 1400, and then at 1400 is the town hall. You can use the QR code, put in questions for the town hall prior to the town hall. So you get your input into what the VA folks are going to be talking about, and they can answer your questions going into this. Folks are coming from the stateside, and we'll have a lot of support and a lot of information for folks that are transitioning. And then I want to, want to mention one other thing. Our transition service manager handed me a bunch of flyers on the way out the door. I put them out there on the table. On the 24th of April, there's going to be a workshop slash hire your heroes event. We're going to have probably, I think, 30 organizations and companies that will be represented here. And the other part of the workshop part of it is going to be directed towards military spouses. That'll be beginning in the morning, and then we'll have folks here all day, companies that we can talk to, contact, and bring residents. So, thank you.
Hey, thanks, Dennis. I'm going to foot stomp the VA clinic. Anybody in this room that has an RET in parentheses after their name and have gone through retirement, you'll all testify that the VA process is very complex and very intimidating and very frustrating. This is the first time I think that I can remember in a long time that we've actually had a team come from CONUS to actually talk about benefits, claims, and all that. So really push this out to everyone that's considering retirement. Even if they haven't dropped their paperwork, it's still everyone retires. Everyone gets their pink slip from the military. So if you're approaching your leaving, have them swing by and look at this. Is really a great opportunity. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, and then going into May, not as full, but there are some key events going on. Again, we got the CLIF on the 8th. MAR4 is sponsoring a golf tournament on the 10th. I don't believe crayons are the first prize. Not yet, anyway. Sorry, just had to get that in there. They do make edible crayons, though, if you didn't know that. It's kind of a cool thing. We got the RPB on the 16th, Memorial Day on the 20th. What's that?
We've got a question.
Oh, question, yeah.
So it's more of an event. Stuttgart High School PTO president again. We are hosting a college and career fair on April 4th. We are turning the whole high school into a virtual classroom session. We have 50 universities represented. I will not be alumni. You will be actually speaking to admission representatives. It's going to be U.S. universities, European universities. I will have about 10 universities in-house. We will have some U.S. universities in-house. We also will have a VA rep to speak on GI Bill. University of Maryland is going to provide a FAFSA rep. So for our seniors that are committed, families that have questions about FAFSA, we're turning the computer room in. You can actually log in to FAFSA and she will be able to help you. We'll have all pre-academy liaisons there, ROTC presentations, enlisted recruiters. It's going to be April 4th. Doors open at 5 o'clock and the sessions start at 5:30 in the evening. We'll have over 20 HBCUs, tech schools, and four-year colleges present.
That's awesome. The person behind you, John Campbell, is our public affairs director. All that information we'll put out on all the Facebook pages and all our local media between now and the time it happens. I think that's great for April. We'll mark that. What a great opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, and then, like I said, 27th is Memorial Day, and we'll also be holding our annual Memorial Day ceremony out at Washington Square. And then, believe it or not, high school graduation is upon us already, and that'll be on the 29th. And did you want to introduce Mr. Curry at this time, or, okay? All right, it's time to throw somebody under the bus.
Hey, for a lot of you, Miss Mary Staub, our previous director, is PCS back to Fort Meade. We had a slight gap, and we have stolen Mr. Kyle Curry from AFRICOM J33 Current Ops. Please stand up, Kyle. He's our new director of DPTMS, and for all mission partners, when you see Curry come across now, you know who's writing you and bothering you. So easy to work with. We're super happy to have him. He's very familiar with the Stuttgart area. He retired in AFRICOM. And we stole him, so we're happy to have him here, and there's our new director if you're looking for a DPTMS. Thanks, Brian.
All right, next slide. So this is the CLIF schedule as it stands right now. Obviously, it's always subject to change based on input from the community, but this is what we're looking at right now for the rest of the year. And this is your takeaway packet contents.
Can you go back to the real quick? Yep. Hey, folks, I want you to just pay attention to this when you take it back. This is different than last month. The CLIF Advisory Board made some recommendations and some really solid recommendations. So we've moved some of the subjects around to really a better school starting, et cetera. So we've kind of moved things around a little bit to just pay attention.
Good morning again, everybody. I am not Joe Johnson, but I am here on his behalf today since he couldn't make it, and I very much understand. We've already got a hand raised. Would you like me to?
I'll get with the health clinic, we'll get some pushed out.
Okay, so I know that there's been a lot of information. I'm going to try to be pretty brief here. Our Spring Bazaar is coming up. There is a flyer in your takeaway packet. Come spend money, support MWR, and take home some fun things. CYS has the Spring Fest coming up in April. April is the month of the military child. So that is one way that we'll be supporting military children and offering a fun activity. If Chaplain Curlin gives us a special prayer, we'll have a beautiful sunny day. As far as facility closure stuff that you should know, the Galaxy Bowling and Entertainment Center, please be aware that we're doing some renovations there. I love retro bowling alleys. I think they're so fun and cool, but if you've been in ours, it's looking a little 70s-ish. So we got some good stuff coming there. Please pay attention to the dates and note all the things that we're going to try to keep going while it's closed and while we're making that transition. ACS will be closed this Friday. Any emergencies for family violence, our domestic violence hotline is still operational, and any child-related issues would go to the MPs, and they certainly know how to get a hold of us as needed. Other items of interest, CYS always looking for staff members. The 9th of April, there will be a hiring fair. For those interested in work, help do something for our community as well, because everyone knows that we're woefully short of the child care we would like to be able to provide. Armed Forces Entertainment is coming on the 16th of April, again in support of our military children. They're going to do crowns and capes. A lot of good information about that there. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. And you have heard way better information about Army Emergency Relief from Ruthie Strawn than I would be able to provide. So unless anyone has any questions for me, I'm going to go ahead and get out of everyone's way. All right, thanks.
A-team, I just got to do a plug because I'm a huge Schwings fan. So just because they're going through construction doesn't mean that they're closed. But I will tell you, if you do order online their wings, you get 5 extra wings.
Just saying.
Just saying.
You heard it here first. I just want to keep saying, you heard it here first.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Bryan. I'm from the Religious Support Office,
And just underscoring what we spoke about today with welcoming people in the community, I think it is the most important 2-3 minutes we do in the week, meeting people face to face when the in-process send to Stuttgart. It's so hard to move, and so that's what we prize ourselves doing, looking people in the eye when we meet them and giving them time to be able to connect with them, not just individually, but incorporating yourself into the community when you arrive in Stuttgart. There's some thoughts with that. So Easter's coming up. We have Easter week services. Check out on the Garrison app if you're interested in those. Ramadan this past week for the Muslims too. Easter and Passover in April too. Very invested with you. Thank you for letting us be part of your community. Thanks. Thoughts or questions? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rachel Long. I'm with the Garrison Safety Office. I have a couple items of community interest I'm going to brief pretty quickly. Any motorcycle operators in the room? Motorcycle riders? Okay, only one. Two, okay. So Motorcycle Safety Foundation courses are required for service members. This is really important. Keep up to date with the training requirements. Also important, just to tag on the sponsorship line. If you have incoming folks, please ask them if they are motorcycle riders before they get here. They cannot take training without it, okay? So those are the dates for the Motorcycle Safety Foundation courses upcoming. Another thing just to mention, we can workforce, first aid training is required, and these are the dates. Risk assessments required for a public event. So this is any event that you're hosting open to community members, open to all community members. Those events have to be risk assessed. So if you're hosting something, please contact the Garrison Safety Office. We would like to review your risk assessment. And lastly, mishap and injury reporting. A lot of different organizations out here do not have safety offices. We are the Garrison Safety Office, but we can help. So if you have a severe injury, please let us know, especially if it's due to an unsafe condition, okay? And
good morning. I'm Bruce Brown with the Logistics Readiness Center, Stuttgart. Our facilities will be closed on Thursday mornings for training. And other items of interest, in conjunction with the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course, we do motorcycle orientation and testing every second Wednesday of the month. Contact the driver's testing and training station for appointment. Any of your questions, that's all I have.
Thanks, Bruce.
exchanges across. So thank you for supporting. Without the community, we definitely could not roll this out. We are only as good as you guys in the utilization of our services, so thank you. The Easter Bunny will be at the main store at the PX every Saturday during the month of March, so please go by and check him out. Again, we were talking about this morning where facility hours are concerned. So the main store manager, Robin, came up with this idea, this process, hey, let's open up at 8 a.m. so we can have those parents who are dropping their students off, or even before work, you're able to utilize the service. Have been doing that. Again, we cannot have these services without utilization. So thank you, Stuttgart first. I take that all the way to KMC, Stuttgart first. So we do have the H&R Block. They are open by appointment only. No pun intended, it's still chilly outside, and we have the soup program at both the Kelly and the Patch Express. And then thanks to our partners with DPW and our Commandant at UCOM, we do offer food trucks on the J Mall. It has been amazing, and the food truck partners love it. So thank you guys for utilizing that service. The vending machine pilot is rolling out. So if you're at the housing office, we have vending machines there. as well as in the dorms. Pending any questions?
Just the vending machines have healthy stuff in there too, because I and I just wanted to put that out there. There's just not sugars. We got a lot of feedback from the soldiers, and they actually advocated for a lot more healthy foods than they did the junk food. So I just wanted to put that out there, that there's a lot of options in there. Thank you.
Thank you, Command Sergeant Major. We are here for you. Thank you, guys.
Good morning, Stuttgart. Elizabeth Fales, Community Superintendent, Stuttgart and Ansbach Schools. A few key community events are up here. One point of note is the Installation Advisory Committee, also known as the IAC, that was scheduled for March, but due to some scheduling conflicts, it is now April 11, 15:30, but still at Patch Middle School. So April 11, 15:30 is the next IAC meeting. 16 March is a night of comedy at Stuttgart High School, and 17 March is our Spring Fling garage sale. Those are going to benefit our senior classes. Those are by our senior families. So please come out and support our seniors as they get ready for those next milestones and in prom and graduation events and other fundraising needs that they may have. And 6 April, we have our softball and baseball teams at home. Some away games have already started. You'll also see that we have soccer at home in March, and I put the April dates out there to forecast for calendars. And then our track and field is at home on 13 April, so please come out and support our Panthers. That would be great. Our facility service enclosures or changes are right there. Teacher work day with no school for students the Friday before spring break, then the week of spring break for family needs. Other items of interest, our prom, which has been already shared, our graduation, both will be off-site. The concerns that sometimes comes around with Stuttgart graduation, they will be off-site, so we won't have to worry about that as much as we have in the past. And then accelerated withdrawal date window opens for those families PCSing, so talk to your school if you need support with that. In April, I'll be forecasting our summer activities as far as our registration drive that we did last summer. Great success over that summer registration drive, so we're going to put that back into play this summer. So as families PCS in, they can begin that registration process and not wait for all the GS employees at the schools to come back to do that in August. So pending any questions?
Did you say the prom and graduation is on-site or off-site?
Off-site this year, ma'am.
Off-site.
Yes, ma'am. So we won't have the traffic congestion that was really problematic for some folks on the 29th of May, like we have in the past.
Are you tracking the home game on May 4th at Hesco Field, CYS is supposed to happen?
It'll be forecasted probably in, it's on my April CLIF slide.
Yes, the bunny is making a preliminary visit with the fire trucks to visit all 4 bases, and I think more information will be posted on that as well soon. So the bunny will be out on the fire trucks on the 21st. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Good morning, Major Jennifer Powers from the Health Clinic. So key community events, the Armed Forces Wellness Center is moving back to Patch Gym. That is ongoing this week through the 22nd of March, so that'll be exciting to have those services back. The physical therapy clinic, that movement has been delayed, so we will post those dates once we have them. Also, as discussed before, the Medevac Blackhawk static display is currently planned for Thursday, March 21st from 13 to 1500. This is open to the community for people to see the Blackhawk, for children to climb it in and everything. So it'll be a fun event. We're working with Garrison PAO to get that messaging out. Just had a meeting last night. So far, weather is looking good, so hopefully we don't have to cancel it like we did back in November. Facility service closures or changes. We're still closed the first and third Thursdays of the month from 12 to 16:30 for training. We have a potential Kelly Clinic closure from March 28th to April 2nd. We're still trying to work some provider coverage to get someone over there to keep some services open to the Kelly community. And then we have the TRICARE Service Center Minimal Services for the Host Nation holidays coming up at the end of March and the beginning of April. So March 29th and April 1st, we'll have minimal staffing in the TRICARE hallway on on those dates. Other items of community interest, we still have the ongoing pharmacy global disruption that is going on. This is just resulting in longer wait times. If you have a refill, we recommend that you call to activate that prescription, the number's on the slide, or you can go on the Genesis patient portal and request your refill. That is a new option that's available as of like the last 2 weeks. So and also you can message the pharmacy team directly to activate those prescriptions to hopefully alleviate some of those wait times. And then hot off the press, COVID container movement, that we just got confirmation that March 18th, they will start the retrograde of those containers. Thank you to DPW for helping out short notice to disconnect them so we can hopefully get those out of the way and open up some more parking at the clinic. And then another thing that's not on the slide, posted on our Facebook page this morning, our front door at the clinic is being replaced, so it is currently blocked off. There is a door to the side, and there's a sign in the front of the clinic to direct patients accordingly. The clinic is still open, even if you see a big barricade in front of the clinic. Still open. Please go in. Please go to your appointment. Do what you need to do. And pending any questions, that's all I have. Okay, thank you.
Hello, everyone. So from the dental clinic, just a couple of highlights. We just closed out, actually it's February, it was Children's Dental Health Month. We had some of our providers in the local schools doing screenings and education for the kids. I think they saw just over 1,000 kids. So for you at home, if your kids got slips from the dentist, that'd be an indicator to get them a dental appointment, and it's just a screening, so they need to see the dentist. So there's limited availability, I think monthly through our pediatric department, but we encourage you to make sure you get your kids into the dentist in town if you're not in it at our clinic. In addition, we are going to open some limited appointments for family members. We just got another hygienist, and we have schedules to fill for our hygienist, so open appointments. A couple caveats: we're doing in-person appointments only. We don't have the administrative staff to handle a whole bunch of incoming phone calls. So we ask if you want to come look for an appointment, stop by the clinic, and we can get you squared away. Usually we're going to look at about a 3-day opening window for appointments, for space available appointments, family members. A couple other things. We have a changeover of providers this summer. Our orthodontist isn't accepting new cases right now. We do have an incoming orthodontist. We'll be losing a general dentist this summer. And then in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we should have an open position for a front desk technician at the dental clinic. So keep your eyes out on that. If there's any other questions, that's all I got. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Staff Sergeant McClary with the vet clinic. Just a couple of community events. We still have Red Cross volunteer openings. This can be used for if anyone is interested in actually being a registered vet tech, going to school for it. You can use the volunteer hours at the clinic towards your in-person requirements for your degree. Facility closers, Wednesday, March 13th, and Wednesday, March 20th, Wednesday, March 27th. We're all closing at noon. We are very short-staffed with people right now. Friday, we will be, on the 22nd, we'll be closed for the training holiday, and then on the 28th, we're closed for our monthly inventory. We are losing about half our staff this summer, so keep in mind for PCS season for health certificate appointments, we are going to be doing the best we can, but if you have the opportunity and availability to go off base, that's probably going to be your best option because we are going to be very short-staffed. On the health clinic's note for the front door, please tell your people, please do not pull on our door. It is automatic. We now have to get a new door because it is broken. When we are closed, it is locked. Please don't pull on it and have your people not pull on the door. It is automatic when it works. Other than that, that is all I have. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other general questions before we turn it over to the command group? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Rachel Long again with the Safety Office. The question was, how do you sign up for motorcycle safety courses? There is a link, airs.safety.army.mil. That link was on the slide. It's a new link from last year, so please make sure you're using the new link. Otherwise, you're going to be just spinning on a broken web link. So again, sign up, check out the calendar, and register on that link. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I'll turn it over to the command group for closing comments.
Slightly over an hour. Hey folks, your time is valuable. We really appreciate you coming out, especially mission partners, a lot of information. And as we keep saying, you hear it here first. So keep encouraging folks to come to this. We'll continue to put out great information. Have a great week and enjoy the weather.